before we jumped on the call, I was thinking, where do I start the conversation? Because having researched where you're at the moment and what you've been experiencing in terms of being out there in the public, I thought, okay, there's so many layers to your story. Should we start with a little bit of your history? So
Okay.
you're together. You've been together for how long?
10 years almost, yeah.
Okay. And how did you meet?
So we met online. We met online. We met on the famous Grindr app. Um,
Is it famous? Oh. Never heard of it before. Okay, yeah.
they've collaborated with Madonna recently for her new Confessions 2 album. So they must
Uh-huh.
be doing something right, bringing the gays back together. But yeah, we met on Grindr.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a late Saturday, was it Friday night? I think
My
it was.
memory
It
is
was
that
Friday
good. I don't
night.
remember.
We started messaging. I messaged Adam, and it's really bizarre because I used to message back when I was on Grindr, and I'd be like, "Hi, I'm Ali. I'm half Turkish, half English," and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I would say in my messages because when people would look at me, people would
Mm.
automatically go for that I look Asian. People would normally not want to talk to me because they thought that I was, again, Asian. And some of the comments that I would get from people online from within the queer community
Mm.
it would be quite racist, you know. So
Wow.
I would change my image of who I was so I can try
Mm-hmm.
and attract people that I was talking to, and didn't want to look like that was a false kind of I'm talking to you, but I'm not this real person. I'm still Ali, and I am Turkish, but
Mm.
I'd always throw in that I was half English
Okay.
because it changes the perception, um, you know, if that makes sense. But then, of course, then I would be honest with people like, oh no, no, I was born in Britain, but I'm half Turkish, half
Mm.
Palestinian, half Arab, and you do find that a lot in the queer community because you do get judged a lot
Mm.
not being for being brown. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I messaged Adam, but I went with hi, I'm Ali. How you doing? And we started talking, and yeah, and then I said to Adam that I'm deleting Grinder tonight. I've had enough of the app, so I'm deleting Grinder. Here's my number. If you want to drop me a message, you can do so. And then I
And
deleted it,
that's where it all began.
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah. And how soon into the relationship did you both start to have conversations about your backgrounds and your culture and your history, etc.? When did that start to become part of your getting to know one another? Was that there right from the beginning?
Yeah, definitely. Like from the first date, we were both talking about our families, like our cultures of food, the music, and it
Mm-hmm.
was it was from straight away, and that was actually what brought us together. There was so much similar. It was all similarities. It wasn't like things were different. Like just the way families were, foods we liked. That's what connected us actually. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
from
From day
minute
dot,
one, yeah, like
yeah.
it kind of is
From
what what brought us together, and a big part of that.
And I'm curious to know about your respective histories. Tell me a bit about sort of what you're bringing to the relationship when you start out. A bit about your coming out stories. How were you in terms of being openly gay with your families?
So mine, I was very honest with Adam straight away, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of where I was, in terms of how out I was, who knew,
Mm.
who didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
and because in my previous relationships, I was honest with them, but I wasn't out, so I was living
Okay.
two separate lives,
Yeah.
and I had exes, and those relationships I saw broke down, and they always would break down because I had two
Mm-hmm.
separate lives. So I had my family life, where I would be with my family. I wasn't my authentic self. I was this other person. I would lie to my family where I would be going out, who I was with, what I was doing, because I had this second life, because I was gay and I wasn't out to my family and I was afraid.
Right.
I was afraid of what it would be like to come out. I was afraid whether I would end up on the streets. I was afraid of them not wanting me, because I did love my family, and still do love my family, and I was very close with my mum. I was very close with my dad. Unfortunately, my dad passed away in 2011, so he was 56 when he died. My dad, and I was 30. But at that point, I still didn't bring a girlfriend home. So I think my dad, as a 56-year-old man, knew that his son was gay, but he still loved me. He still respected me. He always made sure that I was safe, and would always slip me 20 quid and said, when you're coming home, make sure you get a cab home. Do not get a bus home. Do not. So I think in that respect, my family, my dad knew that I was gay. But I never came out to my dad, but I never told any of my exes of my position in terms of, my family. I would always be, my mum just doesn't accept it, but I was never really out. But when I met Adam, I just knew he was the one. So I thought, well, now is the time that I need to face, what's about to come to me. But everyone was, pretty cool. When I came out, my sister was great, my brother-in-law, my aunties, my uncles. It was my mum who found it very difficult. And I think it was more about, she didn't care that I was gay. I think it was more about what the community would say, because coming from a Muslim family, everyone knows each other. It brings shame on the family, if you're not going to follow the original footsteps that you're meant to in life, which is meant to be, marry a girl, have children, have a home, and that's what people are inclined to do. But in life, that doesn't always happen like that, because there are gay people that are born in this world. So my mum found it very, very difficult initially, and I was very honest with Adam from day one. I was very honest with Adam's family and his mum from day one, because I didn't want his mum to think, oh, there's something wrong with my son. Why isn't your mum, talking to him or having him? Because I was very close with Adam's family. His mum, welcomed me to the family with open arms. So did his dad. So did his sisters. So it was very two different ends of the spectrum, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't want to make any assumptions, but Adam, was it different for you? Were you in a more open situation with your family?
Absolutely. So when we first met, very much so. And I think Ali met my mum after about 3 weeks, I think, of dating. She couldn't wait to find out who had been seeing, who we go on dates with. So
I just remember her little car bopping over the humps coming to the place.
I missed her, when you're by, and literally she shot out and was straight there meeting us. I was very open at that point. It was very quickly soon in that Ali was coming to family birthdays, holidays, things like that, dinners together. So it was very different, and they all connected very quickly and had their own relationships very quickly as well. So I was very, very lucky. When I first came out, for me, there was an initial period when my mum and dad. Actually, my mum also was what would people think? She kind of knew what being gay was, but she'd never really had exposure to gay people. So she didn't know a lot. It was, I guess there was this learning path. But it was initially what are people going to say? And it's a really close-knit community. Everyone's going to know. She worried that people would take it negatively, but she kind of spoke to other people, and quite quickly people were just so what? It's at this point in 2006, no one cares. So, and that kind of got her into a position where she's as long as you're safe. That was her worry, being safe, and are you going to be okay? And she kind of came around things quite quickly. It helps. I got 4 older sisters as well, so they were the generation that were going out, and they knew gay people, and they'd been to gay clubs. And one of my sisters went to uni in Manchester, so the gay scene there was a big part of her student life. So kind of was the one telling my mum, it's no different. It's just some people like men, some people like women, some people like both, and that's completely fine. So it was just an education piece, I think, initially.
Sure. And knowing that Ali was going through what he was going through, and it wasn't as open, was there any challenge with that for you in terms of getting closer together as in your relationship and forming your bond? Was there any sort of struggle there?
So not between us, like it didn't affect us and our relationship because I understood. I think it helped the fact that I did come from a community that was very similar, where like there was people with the exact same views and of the same challenges. So I got it. It wasn't like I understood the exact reason. I didn't take it personally. I didn't hold anything against his mum. I just knew that when you're from certain communities, it's harder, and there's you got to think about what other people say. So it didn't affect us. But I used to get really upset for Ali. Like I see him really upset, really down, and that obviously
cry
really,
a lot.
yeah, and that naturally really affected me, and I would see kind of how it would affect his mood and his whole personality, and that
It was
that massively
upsetting.
affected. Yeah,
It was a
Sure.
massive struggle. Like, it's my mum, and I
Yeah.
love my mum. I still love, my mum's great now, but it was more. And she never did anything. She was never malicious, or she was never like did anything purposely wanting to hurt or upset us. But it would be like little things, like it would be like my sister's birthday, and my sister would invite all of us, and but yeah, but then my mum would then call up and give an ultimatum. Well, if you go, I'm not going. And why are you coming? And don't you know how, those were the conversations that we would have, and it was, it was upsetting. Adam would wake up, most weekends find me crying because that would be the time my family would normally get together. But I think I then got to a point where I had to then work with my mum,
Right.
allow her that time to process and to learn and to understand. And that was the only way that you're going to get through anything of a challenge in life like that. And that's not fighting fire with fire, because you're not going to get anywhere. It's about, you know, I found it difficult when I came out as gay. I found it challenging, and I had to process all these steps in my life. So I had to strip it back to allow my mum and give her that time to process. And it was a challenge, and it was a long road. But I think if you're going to ever be in this position, you need to allow that person their time, because it was a bit of an explosion. Each hurdle. First, I openly came out as gay when I met Adam. We then, I then started dating Adam. I then moved in. We then moved in together. We then bought a house together. We then got married. So it was an element of, and I think as my mum saw that each element we were getting stronger and stronger as a couple, and that we were going in the direction of what a straight couple would do, minus the babies. I think she was like, okay. And then, when she did eventually meet Adam, the day she was meeting Adam, it was Christmas Eve, wasn't it? I think it was
the day before.
the day before.
Yeah.
The day before Christmas Eve, and she look, I'd like to meet Adam. This was in 2018, so we'd been together since the beginning of 2017. Adam and I. So she eventually called, and I just remember getting that call, and she was like, I want to meet Adam. Come to my house.
Wow. Yeah.
And I felt like this big weight, and I was so excited, and Adam was so excited because he had seen her before, and she was always a bit frosty, and it was never a pleasant. She was never unpleasant, but it was never a pleasant meeting. So we got to this point, 2018, Christmas time in December. My mum's called us up. Great, let's go and meet my mum. And then my sister goes into labour on that
Wow.
day.
So talk about stealing your thunder.
I've waited 30 years for this. 30 plus years I've waited for this, and you've come along and you couldn't hold your baby, and you've had to give birth. I mean, you just couldn't make it up, really. But yeah, he did come and meet her that night, and it was even more nicer because, he was, drunk in love over the baby. So I thought, well, this isn't going to go even better now, because she was so, not that I wouldn't have, but it was a really nice time.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's a really important point you made earlier about giving someone space to adjust.
Yeah.
I wonder about whether when someone comes out, everything becomes about it being accepting of me and making changes to incorporate like, how I see the world, etc. But actually, it's very reasonable to allow someone to go through a period of adjustment,
Yeah.
maybe even grieving, to then reset and get to know you as the person that you truly are.
I will only allow my mum to use the word accept with me because
Okay.
my mum and
Yeah.
what I need, I know what she was going through, so in order for her to accept. But if there's anybody else outside of my mum,
Mm,
I wouldn't give anyone the opportunity to use the word accept with me.
sure.
I'm Ali, and this is who I am, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think now, especially where I think people can claim ignorance and I
Yeah,
don't know anything about being gay. I think when we were coming out, there was still an element
Mm,
of like, yeah, it's people could claim a little bit of I don't know what this means fully. I don't fully understand because the knowledge wasn't
hmm.
there. So I think
Yes.
back then it was you spent your time processing it. For some people, maybe months, but for some people, it's years and years. So you've got to that point, but for them, they've literally just heard this, and it may be something that's completely new to them. So yeah, I think I agree. Like actually, maybe very close family, but other than that, like it's in the world now, people can't claim they don't know things. Like it's not a learning
Sure.
process.
Yeah. And so it's in a position now where you're open and you spend time with each other's families and people are accepting. Um, do you still feel, respectively, with each other's backgrounds, differences, that there are challenges, or would you say that you are living a very authentic and open life?
Yeah, like, in terms of us as a couple, like
Mm,
it's nothing about our cultures and backgrounds that affect us because we just we love and respect each other and
mm,
everything's like we learn all about each other's embrace each other's backgrounds, but obviously the wider world around us is the
yeah.
one where we should be divided and we should be hate there should be
Hmm.
hate rather than love, and it's such
Mm,
so much divide and some people questioning like yeah how can that work, and both getting hate online because of who we are and our backgrounds and being gay on top of that as well. I think the wider world it has a picture of like, oh, like this is yeah unusual
on paper it
right now.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
On paper it shouldn't work because,
mm,
but we're not on paper. You know, we are very much Ali and Adam, and we know we know the situation that's happened and happening in the Middle East, and it's still
yeah.
ongoing. But when I met Adam, I had never been to Israel before,
Hmm. Hmm.
because I would see things on the news. Obviously, having a Palestinian background, I knew the history, uh,
Mm,
and I would see like a war zone growing up. So when Adam proposed one day, as in not marriage proposed, but proposed, said, like, shall we go to Israel? I was
hmm.
a bit terrified at this point. I was a bit like, oh, like, am I going to be seeing like rockets flying? Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect. But we did go to Israel, and we did a joint trip. We did Israel, and then we flew to Cyprus because that's where my family are from. So we did do both. And like, look, I had a great time, and we travelled all over, and I thought, wow, this isn't what I see on the news. It's a lovely country. I was very well connected to it.
Hmm.
And I did speak to my mum before, and I was like, Adam wants me to go to Israel. What do you think? And my mum, you know, she's like, why? Yeah, you should go. It doesn't matter whether
Mm,
it's Israel, whether it's Palestine. It's a country of where you originate from. That's where your family
yeah.
from. So
Yeah.
you should go, and like you should go and see it and experience it. To ignore the name, ignore everything else. Go and
Mm,
see the country, and go and see the culture, and go and see the food. It's exactly the same as our culture. And it
hmm.
was exactly the same, and it was lovely. We had a great time, and then we went back again when Israel won the Eurovision
Hmm. Yes.
19. With a ba 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 ba.
Yeah, I think I can remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did go, and we went for Eurovision the second time round. And, it was great, and I had a great time. So it, but it still always saddened me knowing the history, knowing that the Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank, how they were still being very much controlled in terms of coming in, work visas, what was allowed in the country. They weren't allowed a government, not allowed, an army or to have a state or to have an airport, and just those little things just to kind of live freely. So that element of it did sadden me, and I was always living hope, thinking, well, maybe one day there would be a solution and there would be a two-state solution. And I think they were kind of working towards that, but in hindsight, everyone was living happy in that respect, and people, there wasn't people getting caught up in the war that there is now.
Yeah, there were hopeful years. I think there was like
Yeah.
things definitely weren't perfect and
Sure.
they weren't equal, but they were like society was going in the right direction. There wasn't this extremism that we're seeing across the world everywhere now. Like it was very much like everyone was just on the same page to we need to find a solution and work together. And like so much in the world, everything's shifted towards the right, and that's obviously where we're at today.
I mean, I would agree with Gaza, but in the West Bank, it's always been the settlers that they were always, and they would still continue every day, whether 10, 20, 30 years ago. They have got their own agenda, which
everything's ramped up. That's what I'm saying, but compared to 2019.
Yeah, they're extremely they're extremists. But we get to a point where we've been to Israel, been to Cyprus, we're living our best life. We're getting married. Adam's rabbi conducts the ceremony. Who did Adam's bar mitzvah? He tracked her down after 20 years.
Oh, so wow!
Rabbi Rebecca. She was lovely.
Yeah, that's special. Yeah, it was really cool. Had the whole ceremony that combined both cultures, and just that was it was about. It's always been about combining the cultures and blending them because they are so similar. Like it's never been about the differences, and I don't think our family's ever seen it that way. It's always been about, oh, you guys do this, oh, you do this, oh, we know that. We just maybe call things slightly different names or different pronunciations, but it's never ever been about different.
We've only had one major argument, which we still debate about this argument, and that's about a bagel. So he called...
What is this argument? What's it called?
That was not what I was expecting to come out of your mouth.
I call it a bagel, and Adam
bagel. That's an East End London thing. My family have been from like Whitechapel. That's what we do.
A bagel to a bagel.
It's not American.
And we have this argument.
Yeah.
It's the funniest argument. So they were like, our nieces and nephews, it's like adopted down to them now. But no, our wedding was always about us, about our cultures, bringing it together. Adam's female rabbi conducted the ceremony. I did ask to have an imam, but he refused and was like, I can do blessings at home. And I was like, that's lovely, but that's not what I want. I wanted to be with my friends and family and surrounded by everyone. So, we did have some of those challenges, but it didn't stop us doing what we wanted to do. We got lifted up on the chairs, we smashed the glass, we had the Turkish drummers bring us into the wedding hall, which is really important to me. So, it was a lovely day, and that was...
You could bring together everything that was important to you both.
Definitely.
In that one occasion.
Definitely. And having our families and friends see the blend. And I think for a lot of people there, it was the first time they'd been to a same-sex marriage and wedding. It's the first time they'd been to a wedding that was Turkish or Jewish, and so there was a lot of people just loved the fact that there was so much they could experience, and it was just unique, I guess. It was because it was us. Like it wasn't it wasn't taking kind of this is what you have to at a wedding. It was just like let's blend exactly what's important to us. We modernized things as well. I think that's really important. Like we didn't just take this as a traditional Jewish wedding or Turkish wedding. We're like actually let's make it relevant to us as a gay couple, as a modern couple, like and change the wording on things to make it relevant and reflect us both. And I think that was really special. Like it was for me as well. Like I, having spent a lot of years when I was younger, like battling between religion and sexuality, it was like, oh, I can, like, this was the final moment of you can bring both together. You don't have to pick one. And that was that the wedding day really was like that final, this is fine. Like you can be, you can make your own path and bring both things together.
Yeah. So yeah, that was in the August 2023, and you know, we got married and we went skipping off into the sunset. We decided to go to Spain straight after the wedding for a week. Then we came back, and then we went back for a month. We rented an apartment, and we thought, sod it, let's go and work and live, you know, live in Spain for a month. We could work abroad, and it was whilst we were in Spain that I woke up to the news of October the 2nd that had happened. And, you know, all I could think, watching it, and you're just watching it on repeat and repeat and repeat, and then it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can just see, you know, what unfolded on that day, which was pretty horrific. You know, completely condemn what happened that day, because that's never happened in my lifetime or Adam's lifetime, where there's been that many hostages being taken and massacre, and it's just like, you know. So it kind of felt that, you know, straight away we went 10 steps back. You know, we were on such a high of our wedding, and then this happens, and we just know what's going to happen. Like, this has happened. You know, loads of people are, you know, being taken hostage. Families are in devastation. People have been killed and murdered. And then a week later, the retaliation starts to the people in Gaza. So again, I get it, you know, fighting fire with fire, but if you're going to go and you want to go and get the terrorists or get the terrorists, go and get the terrorists. You've got an army, you've got, you're well equipped, you're well enforced. Go and do what you need to do. But in the process of going to do what you're going to do, you've killed 75,000 people. In Gaza, you've completely flattened it. You've stopped aid going in. You know, they're still killing people, and you know, it's you know, it's been really difficult to watch.
And I'm sure both of you must have kind of begin to imagine what been going on for both of you in your minds, and there's so many layers to it. Obviously the foundational layer is, you know, that people are being brutally killed, and you know, war is such a devastation. How did you start, like, navigating all of that within your relationship? Did it kind of become the focal point? I mean, you said you're solid, and I get that. I'm just wondering if it was there were any shakes to the foundations within you as well as being a couple.
Yeah, I guess it's a huge emotional time. Like,
Sure.
like if anyone watching it, if you got no connection, it's you can't look at images on TV of anything like from both sides and not feel anything. But yeah, adding on the connections and the fact that I think I just, yeah, this feeling of this isn't going to get better anytime soon, kind of knowing where it could go. Yeah, definitely the emotions of that was hard, and I think there was an element of, like, we both cried at times a lot, and being there for each other about, we've cried at the same images, separate images, and it just really, there's times where one of us
very angry.
Yeah, anger. There was definitely, and there was times as well, like, we had to teach each other things as well, where it was like, I've seen this on Instagram, I'm really shocked, and it's like, I've seen that same, you know, the algorithms, I've seen the same thing, and it's saying this happened, and actually it kind of taught us a lot around, don't believe everything you see, because I'm getting this one picture projected to me, you're getting another picture, and who knows what's true, if any of it. And so there was conversations around that, and some family and friends were a bit more vocal than others in very one-sided ways, and it's just kind of like, how do we navigate that? Some people where it's just was the things that they've said were just not worth being in our life anymore, because anyone connected to us should have compassion equally. And that's really all we wanted at that point. Like, there should be for anyone, it shouldn't be about the label.
Like, made comments about being anti-Semitic or homophobic, because we just wouldn't do that full stop. You know, even if I wasn't with Adam, I would never be anti-Semitic, and I know he wouldn't be Islamophobic. Usually, you look at government and you look at the bigger picture, and you're not
Yeah.
going to target every Jewish person or every person because that is what's happening at the moment. That is what is happening at the moment, and let's just forget the war for a sec. But Jewish people are being targeted because of what's happening, and Muslim people are also being targeted, not because of the war, but they just think we're terrorists. They think we're the ones picking votes. We're the brown people. You know, we're the ones getting, you know, beaten up by, you know, the Reform Party that's coming into play at the moment.
Yeah.
There's an element from both sides, you know, of both of us being attacked at the moment.
Yeah.
And, you know, so that's you know, it's been really difficult, and you know, we've even lost people that we thought were friends in our lives, and you know, we're not friends with them anymore because
Yeah, and like Ali said, it's gone from now. Obviously, things are still really bad in the Middle East, but now it's gone to actually being scared here for ourselves, our families. That fears now. I think that's taken over to the next element now, and there is this fear for both of us, and we worry about our families, and it's and we can see from the comments we get online, like there's a lot of really nasty people out there, to be honest.
we get a lot of death threats every day. You know, and I laugh very subtly there a bit, but I used to get really scared when they first would pop up on my phone. But we get so many, and it's just like, you know.
I think as well, just the whole queer community is feeling it right now as well. It's just the general feeling for anyone who's other or different in the UK right now is that there's this underlying feeling of, okay, this is a bit scarier than it was 3 or 4 years ago. So I think we're all feeling it in different ways, maybe. I think when you're a minority within a minority, you've got more layers of fear within that.
Sure. Yeah. And so when did the onset of what happened with the conflict, when did that start turning into what you two are doing now in terms of being advocate voices, you know, going out and there and spreading messages of love rather than hate? How did that all start to happen?
Well, should I go? Well, we did an article with the wedding venue before
Oh,
the
right. Yeah.
so the wedding venue wanted to do an article, and they were like, you know, can we do an article for this? So we did this article with the wedding venue. Well, midway through, I think. And then the 7th of October happened, and then we thought, well, do we carry on? Do we not? What do we do? But we did carry on. And we didn't talk about the conflict, I don't think, at that point, did
No,
we?
it's very new, and I
Yeah.
think I think in general, a lot of people didn't want to know how to navigate it, and
Right.
it wasn't. It was just purely about us as an interfaith couple, our wedding being this collaboration of cultures.
So that's where it started. That
where it started.
joining of cultures, and
And they sent it out, and it was Attitude magazine that first picked it up. And they wanted to use our story to celebrate 10 years of marriage equality in the UK.
Okay.
It was in the March, I believe, of 2024.
Right.
So they took this article, they then rejigged it and played about with it, and then they released it on their platform. We then got nominated for an Attitude Pride Award that same year, which we went on to win, but that was in the June. And that then really just opened the floodgates for us after that. And from there, we then started getting approached by lots of different, you know, productions and articles and podcasts. And, you know, we were nominated for a Gadio Award this year for Influencers of the Year. Today, it's been announced that we have been nominated for an Ethnicity Award for outstanding contribution to the community. We've got a management as well now, so we've got a management company that looks after us, which is great, and they get us lots of different gigs and works that we do. And this year was the first time we've done all the prides, haven't we? We've done quite a lot of prides.
Quite a bit of speaking, and now ambassadors for Rainbow Mind and Switchboard, which is really amazing to just kind of for us. It's absolutely about that spreading positivity, because there is so much negativity, and there is negativity attached to kind of the journey and where we got to, but we want to spread that this love is stronger than hate. There is that people need to focus less on the divides of any groups, and actually focus more on what unites us all. And as a queer community, we need to all be united right now. It doesn't matter what people's differences of opinions are within the community, because there's always going to be about all different things, from really small things like music taste, major political things. But we need to stand united, because that's the only way you're going to kind of get through what is a pretty rubbish time for a lot of people.
Yeah. And how has that impacted on your lives? This sort of propulsion into the public eye. Sort of, you were celebrating your love, and then you basically you inspired people, and then it's led to so much, which I'm sure is wonderful. But what's that transition been like for you?
It's been crazy in some ways. Like it's we've just got full-time jobs, so it's like balancing all these different things, which is obviously a lot of times. But it's been incredibly fun. We've met some amazing people. So we've made loads of great friends. There's some honestly some amazingly inspiring people out there who are doing great things across the community, particularly in the trans community. But I still like, how is this like? We're just us. I don't know. I'm like, we're just like a couple who met 10 years ago. Like, I don't know. We just fell in love. And
we were at the British LGBT Awards in May, and we were just stood there, and out came Boy George out the lift. And I was like, wow, there's Boy George. So me being me, I just like, can we take a picture? He was like, yeah, of course. I think we were on picture 57, and every time we took a picture, the lighting was so terrible. I just kept saying to him, listen, the lighting's really bad. Do you want me to post this picture? And he was like, absolutely not. Do not dare post that picture. And I was like, okay. So we sat down, and where we were sat, it was a big round table. So you get like the 3-course meal before the awards. And he was sat literally behind us. So we could turn over, we could just talk to him. And in the end, I said to him, look, the picture's terrible. Can I just take a video with you? He was like, yeah, of course. So Adam gets the phone, hits record, and I just start, the first thing I do, I just start singing to him, come.
Of course you do.
And he just looked at me, and he's laughing, and then I'm just singing the song. It was just like a 10-second clip, and it was the most funniest thing. And that's just, we've just met some great people, and like, you could just, they're just great.
Has it changed how you see yourselves in any way?
Do you know what? Talking a lot has made me really realize, like, I've been through quite a bit. Like, I didn't quite look back on things, and was like, it was quite, having that intersectionality is complex. It is
Sure.
I don't think I appreciate how much I had to deal with in my teenage years, and how far I've come now. I'm like, wow, it is a journey. It is hard work at times, and you do feel like there is a lot, but that's been amazing. Also, I'm a really shy person, so being out there publicly and talking, that's been like, how have I done this?
We've saved a lot of money on therapy sessions, I can say that. Because we've just like, offloaded everything out. And I think Adam said, you do, once you do start talking, and you start, you start thinking, oh my God, do you remember that happened? Oh, that happened. And this happened, and things come out, and you do end up talking. You're having this discussion, and you're having it out on the table, and then you've got someone who's interviewing yourselves, and then they come from a different angle and think, oh yeah, I didn't think that way. So it's been interesting, and it's been really. It's been good, and it's been good in terms of helping other people, because this is why we've been doing it, because there's lots of people out there that we know from the Jewish Muslim community, even if they're not in that community, but they're in other communities where they have difficult challenge and they can't come out. People can resonate, and people they do listen, they do message us, and like, oh my god, you're so brave. How did you do it? And how, and it's not about being brave. It's about finding yourself, and it's about giving yourself that safe space and allowing you to be free. That's what it's really all about. But I always do tell the listeners to make sure that before they do come out, that they are in a safe space, because there may be
Yeah.
times where, people will come out and they're just not in a safe space, and they will end up being homeless and going down some dark roads, and that's something that we don't want.
And you get to inspire so many people at different stages of their journey, and yeah, there's so many layers to your experiences and that of our listeners. I'm sure that really there are so many important messages. We could do multiple episodes and do deep dives on every single layer, but you're kind of covering a lot of ground in what you're doing at the moment, really. But it's one message, isn't it? Which is, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it would be spreading love, really,
Yeah,
rather than hate and negativity. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. But I suppose that thinking about being in your relationship, living your lives, doing the jobs that you do, and then sort of, I guess, accidentally becoming activists. It's like that's got to be quite a transition,
Yeah.
but equally fun is at the same time, but probably sometimes overwhelming and quite draining potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, particularly for me, my job involves talking to people all day. It's quite draining. I've got ADHD, so and then like everything on top, it can be like sometimes it can be a lot. I have to make sure I look after myself and choose where to focus my energies on and what's really makes me feel good and going to make an impact. I think that's been important to learn, because otherwise you can just overwhelm yourself. And I've started ADHD medication a few months ago, so that's really helped, because I was getting so overwhelmed. There's just too much going on in my head. And that's really helped.
And there's two of us, because when you're in the mood, I go and represent and then come back.
Okay.
Or there's other times where Adam will then go, if I'm busy, I'll do that.
Sure.
Adam will go, so
we've both got our own strengths and things, so we can add different layers to it.
Of course.
But yeah, like but the people we met, it's such a mix of people. Like there's people with all different backgrounds, neurodiversities, and everyone's kind of finding their own way of doing life, I guess. And that's been really inspiring. It's made me feel prouder of being in the queer community, proud of every aspect of me, because I've heard from others how inspiring they've been and how they've focused their energy and to do things that are positive. So the reward is worth it, I guess, in absolutely being able to help people.
And for people out there listening that might be very scared by one or all of the things that we've covered today so far, what would you say to them? How would you help guide them towards anchoring into hope and to not allow fear to consume them? How do you even start to not let that happen? How do you do it, both of you?
Yeah, I think what's important is find your support network first, and whether that is family, or whether it's friends, or whether it's completely people you don't know, and online groups or resources, and find new people in your life who are going to help you, or organisations like Switchboards who can actually guide you. And I think that's a really important first step. If you are like completely lost, I don't know where to start, I don't know who I can turn to, I don't know who I can talk to. There's someone out there, and there are people out there, and there's loads of queer community groups for every single intersection of the community. There is a group out there, and they're usually really good places to start, because I think talking to someone who has shared lived experiences, especially if you're a younger person, that can really help, because I feel like that would have really helped me when I was younger. And it took me a while to realize there was these resources, and when I did, it really helped my mental health and my own coming out journey.
All it takes is to meet one person.
Yeah.
To get that one person, that's your support network, someone that you can trust, someone that you can be open with, someone that you can be yourself with. It just takes that one person, and then everything else will snowball, and hopefully snowball in the right direction for you. But it's like Adam said, I think you need to figure out who you are, try and get that support network. And again, I will always reiterate Switchboard, because we are ambassadors for Switchboard. They're a great service. They've got people on the other end of the phone day and night that can listen, help you, guide you all in the right, safe directions. But yeah, all it takes is that one person, and yeah, and safe sex.
Yeah, let's always
Safe
make
sex.
sure we save sex. Come on, everyone. But when it comes to inspiring hope, it's a deep dive within the queer community, and I guess globally, many communities are feeling so fearful. How do you prevent yourself from drifting into complete hopelessness?
Recently, I feel like I've been inspired by listening to older people in the community, like people who they've been through this and way more and way worse, like where there was zero laws supporting our community, and they battled and battled hard. So we've been here before, and look where we are now. And yes, it does feel like things are going backwards, and hopefully not, but maybe they will. But we will fight it. We will overcome things, and we will move forward. Obviously, trans community has gone backwards, but we'll get there. The older community have got the resources and tools, and they've been there. So we need to listen to them. That's recently what I've been hearing stories, especially around Stonewall. That just kind of there is. This is what we can learn from, basically, and that's inspired me.
That's powerful. Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's knowing that Donald Trump is getting older each day and will probably die soon. He is the cause of so many problems, honestly. He's just evil from the core, that man. And I think he's not going anywhere, really, is he? So Adam said, we need to just unite and be as strong as we possibly can, because there are people out there using their platforms to try and divide the world in any way they possibly can, whether it's with your sexuality, to your race, to your religion, to your country where you live. They're using their platform and power in any way to divide. I've never felt the United Kingdom in such a divide. And I'm an 81 child. I was born in 81. So I do remember growing up in the 80s and the 90s. I do remember the Thatcher days, and I do remember, the IRA days, and I do remember, I think we're coming out of skinhead days, weren't we, around the 80s? But I do remember there was a small divide, but it got better. All of a sudden, I just remember it got better. And everyone, but like I said, there's powerful people up there, and especially with technology this day and age, they are washing everyone. And I just, we just need to always remember that we just need to stick together.
Yeah, and just on that, I'd say question things you see on social media and challenge others. I've seen this. There's so much that that's just not true, and it's causing so much anger. It's being fed into us, basically, and fed into people to create this divide. So challenge things as well. Important.
So listen to your elders and band together and speak out. Really. I mean, it's so powerful each time we have a conversation like this, and you go out and have your conversations and I have my conversations. Got to believe that that's like a ripple effect that will spread in a positive way, because if we don't say and we don't speak out and we don't challenge our own negative assumptions, and we fall into that pit of despair and think there's nothing we can do, then it's just going to consume everyone, isn't it?
Definitely. And I genuinely think there's more people who support. There's more good and bad in the world. Like the bad voices are very loud, and they are getting more, but there's still more people who are either completely neutral, at the least, to massively supportive of us and our community. So I think that's something to always keep in mind. It's just, it doesn't feel like that right now because there's so much noise from the very angry parts of society.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we do get a choice, I suppose, as to where we direct our attention. and it's not about ignorance and denial, but we can look at what's going on, but we don't have to let it define us.
Definitely.
You know,
Use the allies, yeah, we lean on them. Like,
Mm.
if you want to be allies and send allies, then we need you as well. Like,
Yeah.
support us. And
absolutely. Like we need everyone. Yeah, like it's like there's no barrier to being a loving human being, right?
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm.
Before we go, if any of the listeners are going to be at Brighton Pride,
Sure.
on the 1st of August,
Yeah.
Adam and I were marching at the front this year with Brighton Pride, and we're also
Amazing.
going to be on stage. Times to be confirmed, but they will be out there.
Okay.
And we're
Are you
also
coming to Southampton Pride? That's where I am.
when is it?
It's the last weekend of August, I believe.
That's Manchester Pride.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
we are at Manchester
Manchester
Pride.
Village
So
Pride,
yeah, Manchester.
Oh, I
Village.
got in too late.
Next
Yeah,
time, Southampton,
we've been
yeah.
invited to Manchester Village Pride, and we'll be on
I
stage.
could be wrong. I will double check the dates and let you know.
If so, I will definitely drive up. And will you be there this year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 But so there's a lot. The Prides is an amazing way to meet new people and
Yeah.
inspire people and be visible out there in the community.
Yeah,
Like for young people coming out, everyone's been there actually. We've all, very few people have just kind of fallen into the whole queer community around them. Like most people, they've had that whole, where do I start? Like,
Yeah.
it's not like, at school, just making a group of friends. That you have to kind of actively seek a community. So people are friendly and welcome on the most because they've been there themselves, I think. Yeah. So go to Pride, yeah.
So Prides and what else is on the horizon for the two of you?
Well, we've just become ambassadors for Switchboard, so that
amazing.
started in July. So we have got lots of projects coming up with them. So we've got a few meetings coming up to go through what the pipeline will look like.
Okay.
So we've got Rainbow Mind UK as well, which we're ambassadors for, which I think, it's really important. Mental health is real and mental health is out there. And, I think people struggle with mental health every single day, to be honest with you. And you may not label yourself as saying, oh, well, I've got mental health issues. Everyone has mental health that they go and struggle with, every day of their life. And, Adam, as I said, he's recently been diagnosed with ADHD, and I'm so proud of him because it was a massive leap to go and speak to the doctor and face your inner challenges of why am I feeling like this and why am I feeling down, and and it was very upsetting for me as his husband to see him go through those struggles. But he's done it and he's taken that leap and he's now building that anxiety that he had in him that I saw. The confidence levels were really low, where he's really confident and he's doing things that I never saw Adam do before, where he is now going on stage and speaking to thousands of people and going on stage and
That's incredible. Yeah.
it's just incredible, and I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, you should be. You should be very proud of yourself too. Both of you should be. I mean, this story, I believe we've only really scratched the surface, but from what I've read and from talking to you today, it's ultimately it's a story of love and togetherness and unity, and it's I'm sure it's going to continue to inspire thousands of people, and we need people like you in the world. So really grateful to have had you here speaking with me, and I wish you both all the best for everything that's coming. Is there anything you'd like to leave our listeners with? One final thought or reflection that you'd like to finish on?
I think the only thing for me is just from what you just said now, to be in a place where it's just, this is so normal. This is normal. This wouldn't even be a story. Like, it's just like, why shouldn't we be like, it's just a thing. Like that's where we want to get to in the world, I think.
My one thing to the listeners would say, go back and ask yourself what you would tell your younger self. And
I like that.
Try and do that. My aim would always be to tell my younger self to know that the fight will never be over. in life. But there's always going to be racism and sexism and homophobia, and the fight will never ever be over. So equip yourself and make sure that you have enough fight in you, because that fight, unfortunately, as much as we would love it to be over, but there's always going to be something. There's never going to be nothing. There's always, or we'll live in a perfect world. And I think we can all agree that the world we are living in right now is anything but perfect. So equip yourself. So my thing to your listeners would be, what advice would you give to your younger self? Take that advice as an adult and try and make something positive out of it.
And it sounds like also you're saying that we need to be vigilant and not be complacent. So we're super conscious that we can't just rest on that, oh, everything's okay now. I know it's not, but just because there's progression doesn't mean that it's always going to go in that direction. So to stay aware and stay mindful of what's going on around you. But equally, I'm sure as you're going around prides and other events, there's always a lot of laughter too.
Oh, yeah, have fun on the way. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of important ways to be done, but it's also you got to have fun on the way. You got to enjoy yourself. Otherwise,
100%.
not all doom and gloom.
Follow us on Instagram. We are husbands.
Oh yes, where can people follow you?
So we are husbands_Ali_Adam.
Okay.
It might be on the screen if James puts it on there.
Oh, I'll put it in the show notes. That's all good. Yeah. Well, it's been an absolute privilege spending some time with you both. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much, James.
And again, all the best for everything that you've got coming and keep doing what you're doing. Enjoy it. Such an empowering message and good luck.
Thank you so much.